Get on, campers. Kerno Camps here, antlers are on, and we're going to discuss today the JetBoil Zip. Is it worth it? So if you've been into wild camping for any length of time, surely you've heard about JetBoil. They produce a whole range of stoves that essentially boil your water really fast. Hence the name JetBoil. However, they come with a massive price tag. This one here, the JetBoil Zip, which I've purchased with my own money, I might add, comes in at £85 today. Now, we're coming up to Christmas, antlers, so there's a lot of people out there who are going to be putting one of these things or something similar onto their Christmas list. So we have to ask, is it worth 85 quid? The Zip is the cheapest of the range. And it's the cheapest because it goes without a lot of bells and whistles. One of those being a piezo igniter. It doesn't have one built in, so you have to carry a little lighter with you. Now this thing, I'm going to read some specs off my phone here. The JetBoil Zip, and this is coming off the JetBoil website. Colour is carbon, it's black, right? It weighs in at 0.75 pounds, which is roughly 340 grams. Now, I must say that does not include a fuel canister, and it does not include the fuel canister stabilizer, which does come in the package. The gas can doesn't, but the stabilizer does. So I don't know why it doesn't list it with a stabilizer, but hey. It's got a cooking volume of 0.8 litres, so that's 800 ml. And its type is a fast boil. It says JetBoil on it, we know that. Right. It's good for a group size of 1 to 2 people, and it has no fuel regulator. The boil time is listed as 2 minutes and 30 seconds per half a litre. And it can apparently boil 12 litres of water from one single 100 gram can of gas. Yeah, so there we go. And it's 10.41 centimeters that way. Where are we? That way, 10.41 centimeters and 16.5 centimeters top to bottom. All right, so we got over the specs. What do I like about this system? Let's go through that for a start. Right, so it's a nice integrated system. It's all in one. It's all in this nice little package here. Everything packs away inside. I've got my gas can in there. I've got my stove top in there. And I've got the triangle fuel can stabilizer in there. It's got a little handle on the side, which is pretty freaking useless. And it's got some sort of neoprene sleeve around it with a slot in the side. I'm guessing that's for your spork, your fork, your spoon, whatever. You just slide it in there, and it sits in there quite awkwardly, like so. So yeah, there we go. That's the JetBoil all in one system. It's got this little cup thing on the bottom. Now, I've heard this referred to as a measuring cup, and apparently you can use it as a drinking vessel, a cup. It does have measurement lines on the inside, just up here. I'm hoping you can see that on the camera. If not, I'll take some photos. So yeah, you could use it as a measuring cup, I suppose, but it's pretty crappy for what it is. And I've also heard people can use this as a cup. It's got these silly little cutouts at 3-4 points around the side that I think are a bit dangerous for using it as a cup. You take a drink and your hot liquid's going to spill out everywhere. You could use it as like a cereal bowl maybe, or something like that, porridge in there. But that attaches to the bottom of the cook system, and it protects the flux ring. Is it flux ring or flux capacitor? Flux capacitor, what's that? Oh, that's that Back to the Future. Right. So yeah, it protects your ring. I'm gonna throw that away. Don't need that. It's crap. Right, on the top we got a lid. Now this lid is pretty nifty because you've got like a little strainer there, and at the other end you've got a little sippy bit to drink your drink from. Or I suppose you could use it as a pouring spout. It's probably what it's designed for. Inside, everything's neatly packed away. We've got the stove itself, which is quite a chunky beast really. It's quite a weight on its own. On the side of the stove you've got the valve for your gas. Turn it one way, gas comes out. Turn it the other way, gas stops coming out. Inside there as well I've got my JetBoil branded Jet Power gas. Jet Power. Jet Power. So simply screw that one on top like that. There we go. We get a little bit of psst coming out. We've got a pretty nifty little they call it stabilizer, don't they? Triangle thing, right? Clip that in. I'm teaching you to suck eggs here. It's quite simple really. And that's it. That is your stove ready built. And on top of there clips your pot. There we go. And it's all in. Look at that, eh? Fantastic. We love it, don't we? It's even got some sort of instructions on the side. Do not heat empty. I don't know if you can see that. Do not heat empty and light before attaching the pot. That's actually a good point. I've tried lighting it with the pot attached. Doesn't really work very well. Let's get a boil on. We've got the JetBoil. Let's fire it up. But not until we got the pot on, and there's no point in putting the pot on until we got some water in there. So half a litre of water apparently boils in 2.5 minutes. There we go, that's half a litre. Now half a litre is actually, wrong lid, is nearly full. That's quite a lot of water for 2.5 minutes. Put the lid on. Find my lighter. There he is, right. Now I do like the valve on the side. It's quite grippy. Put that on, give it a twist, and wait 2.5 minutes. While we're waiting, I'm going to be making myself a Kenko Duo Cappuccino in my little mug here. And because I'm bloody hungry, I'm going to be knocking out a Fast and Furious beef and tomato pot noodle. That is my lunch today. Now why did I buy this? So I like my Ultralight cook set. I've made a video about that one before, and I'll put a link to it in the description below. And I really love my Trangia cook set. My Trangia is amazing, but my Trangia is big, it is bulky, and not so good when you're trying to go a little bit lighter on camps. My Ultralight cook set is fantastic. It's really small, it's really light, it's very, it's much smaller than this. But the only downside to it is that I find in windy conditions it lets me down from time to time. I've got steam coming out of here already, not a lot, just a little bit. How are we doing on time? We're coming up for 2.5 minutes actually. So I bought the JetBoil on a bit of a whim really. I wanted to try it out. I've wanted to try it out for quite some time. And I wanted to see what all the fuss is about. But I didn't want to go for one of the more expensive, well over 100 quid options, because I thought that was just an absolute waste of money for my needs. At 85 quid I wasn't too fussed about this, but what made it more of a, what really cinched the deal for me was the fact that in Millets, if you've purchased from there before and had an email receipt sent to you, if you produce that receipt to them on your phone, they'll knock an extra percentage off. I think I got 20%, maybe 15% off the overall cost of this. If it wasn't for that, there's no way that I would have bought it. Okay, so we've got a nice bit of steam coming up through now. I'm just going to see how boily the water is. We've got bubbles coming up. That's nearly there. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. I am going to be doing a test, a very scientific, maybe, test, comparing the JetBoil to my Ultralight cook system, a very cheap off Amazon cook system, and the Trangia 27 as well. That's coming up in the new year. But for now, we're just looking at whether or not the JetBoil is worth 85 crowns. Did I just say crowns? We're going to see if the JetBoil is worth 85 quid. Do you like my antlers? I don't know what to say at the moment because we're just waiting for water to boil. This is almost as bad as watching paint dry, isn't it? Right, well, while that's going, let's get me cappuccino ready. I love these. If you haven't used them before, they're the simplest system in the world. Just dump in the milk into your cup. Pull back a little bit more foil. Oh, look at this. We're done. Right, so let's turn that off. Lefty, loosey, righty, tighty. That's boiling. Now you have to kind of grip the bottom without touching the metal to be able to twist the pot off. Now I'm going to just move that out of the way. Yeah, I've made that mistake a couple of times. If you don't do that, then you tend to burn a bit. The other thing is, this handle is rubbish. The amount of times that I've nearly spilled water all over my hands by using the handle is ridiculous. There we go. Now, I don't know if we've got enough water in there to do my pot noodle, but let's give it a blast. Quite like the pouring spout, actually. If you're a bit of a masochist, you could make your coffee straight in the pot and use the spout as a, you know, somewhere to place your lips, but nah, sounds a bit dangerous to me. Let's get this mixed up. Now, I have asked on my YouTube community page and on my Instagram what people's opinions are of the JetBoil Zip. Now, I only done that a short while ago. Excuse the sniffing, like I said, I've had a cold. And I'm waiting for some feedback on that at the moment. Hopefully millions of comments will start pouring in. I'm going to drop them in on the screen now, because I was interested in, you know, people who have owned the JetBoil, do they like it? So I've finished up my noodles. I'm drinking my coffee, which has cooled down enough now. So it's time, really, since we've been through what it is, what it does and how it does it, it's time to ask the question, or even answer the question, is the JetBoil Zip worth nigh on 100 quid? Well, really, I can only give my opinion based on my particular usage of the Zip, of the JetBoil, and where I go when I'm using it. Sure, out here in the woods, you know, is as good a test as any for me, because this is pretty much the same sort of scenario as I would have up on Dartmoor, out on Bodmin Moor, or even on a coast or wherever. I don't use this up in mountains. I don't use this on, you know, really high summits or anything like that. I use this in my tent generally. And it's okay. It gets the job done. It boils water, it does it fast. But do I need to boil half a litre of water in 2.5 minutes every time? Well, no I don't. 85 quid is not worth maybe 30 seconds of time saving. It's also not worth the noise. That thing is noisy. It's called a JetBoil. It sounds like a jet. If you're out on Dartmoor, you're out camping in the woods, you're out somewhere where you want some peace and quiet and solitude, the last thing you want to do is start up a jet engine in your damn tent. It's ridiculous how loud that thing is. It really is. I would much rather use my own custom put together Ultralight, whatever you want to call it, system, or my Trangia than that thing. The BRS 3000 system that I use usually on my camps will boil water in about 3 minutes. Now, admittedly, if I was up on a summit and I've walked loads of miles, I've been climbing up hills like that, scrambling over rocks, it's freezing cold, there's snow everywhere, high winds, sure, I use a JetBoil. But I don't. I walk over the moors and I set up my tent and I chill out and I want a cuppa. So I think my BRS 3000 system that I currently use and have been using for quite a long time now is better. It's slower to boil for sure. Takes maybe an extra 30 seconds. It's quieter than the JetBoil. But then who wants a jet engine going off in your tent? Or I could use my Trangia. If I really wanted to just chill out and relax, set up my Trangia, it's silent. Sure, it's going to take about 5 minutes to boil the damn water. But I want to chill out. I don't want noise. I don't want noise. Having the all-in-one system is lovely, but I've already rebuilt that with my own system. So, is the JetBoil Zip worth it? Nah. At 85 quid, I expect more. One of the things that I expect is an integrated piezo igniter. I don't want to have to use a lighter. It's also not very lightweight. At 85 quid, I want a titanium pot, not aluminium. Aluminium takes too long to cool down for a start. It's too heavy compared to titanium. The silly little measuring cup on the bottom, absolute waste of time. Waste of weight, waste of plastic. The whole system's big, it's heavy, but it does boil water really fast. You can't deny that. It's a fast water boiler. It probably boils water faster than my kettle at home. So is it worth it? Is the JetBoil worth 85 quid and perhaps 45 quid more than you would spend on a competing system or a cheaper self-built system? Well, no. No, it's not. But why? Well, 85 quid's a lot of money to spend, isn't it? These things are marketed to everybody. They're marketed to everybody from the professional wild camper, hiker, mountaineering person, right down to the novice guy, the guy who's just starting out. You must buy a JetBoil because that's the thing to buy if you want to boil water really fast. But do you need to boil water really fast? There's nothing wrong with a Trangia, an alcohol stove. Sure, it'll take 5 minutes to boil, but it's silent. Or you could build your own system like mine. My BRS 3000T/Luxarda pot combination. I think it runs me around about 30 quid. It takes an extra 30 seconds to boil the water, but it's much quieter. It's much lighter. It's a bit smaller. There's that option as well. And of course, there's other competing brands which aren't so well known as JetBoil, but they produce pretty much the same thing. Everything else is cheaper. Nothing else boils as fast, but everything else is cheaper. Now the Zip is the bottom of the barrel. It is the cheapest option. At 85 quid, it's the cheapest option. That's crap. You know what? I'm going to carry on using my JetBoil. I am. Not because I think it's great, but because I've slapped down 85 quid on it. I've got it now. If you've got one, use it. If somebody gives it to you, use it. But if you want to save some pennies that you can allocate to something else in your camping equipment list, don't buy the JetBoil. Don't buy the Zip. Don't buy any of the JetBoils. They're so overpriced. It's like buying into the Apple ecosystem. You buy it and then suddenly they want to sell you a pot support so that you can buy their frying pan, so that you can buy their little spatula set, so that you can... Oh man, seriously, you've got to buy their... You don't got to, by the way, but they sell you the JetBoil Jet Power gas cans, which are a clear quid or more above the price of anything from Coleman. Yet the Coleman works fine as well. You're buying into an ecosystem with the JetBoil. Once you're in there, if you don't know any better, you're going to find yourself hard to get out. Save yourself the money. So, on that note, I'm going to sign off. All right, I'm going to finish my cuppa. I'm going to pack up my rubbish over there. And I'm going to go home. Because it is freezing out here. Well, it's not, it's 3 degrees. But it feels bloody cold. And I'm going to go home. I'm going to make myself a better cup of coffee with my kettle. So that was my opinion on the JetBoil Zip. It's rubbish. Don't buy it. It's crap. If you've enjoyed the video, please leave me one of those likes. I like those. Or if you haven't enjoyed the video, give me the thumbs down. Don't mind either way. But if you give me a thumbs down, make sure you tell me why in the comments below. I really want to know what I could have done better. If you enjoy the content, hit the subscribe button, you know, that little bell thing, that's great. Ting! And I'll see you in the next one. So, from me, Kerno Camps, over on Instagram as well. Catch you next time.